I have had it with these MAGA Republicans that do not want to address this issue. They would rather talk about drag queens and how the sky is falling, and they want to ban books, and they want to talk about refrigerators. I want to give an update on what has taken place at Florida State University. As far as what we know right now, and the numbers are still coming in, and it keeps changing. We know that there are fatalities. We know that a suspect is in custody. We know on this that this is, again, violence using a weapon, using a firearm. We don't have a lot of information, but Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare, and I'm giving you all the latest information that I can, is actively receiving and caring for patients. We know that at least 6 people have lost their, we know that at least 6 people are injured, excuse me. So we have all these different reports that are coming in. We know that this is a very serious situation. It's terrible. It's awful. I don't care which weapon was used. We have a problem in this country that needs to be addressed. We have a problem in this country, and MAGA Republicans do not want to do anything about it. I grew up about an hour from Sandy Hook, okay? We had 61 people that lost their lives in Las Vegas. I was supposed to be at that concert, and a friend of mine was shot in the back. I have had it with these MAGA Republicans that do not want to address this issue. They would rather talk about drag queens and how the sky is falling, and they want to ban books, and they want to talk about refrigerators in Congress, but they don't want to address this issue. And if they do, they'll say more weapons are the answer. I have had it, and I get tired of having to talk about this, and we cannot normalize this. All the violence in this country and all the people that lose their lives, as someone just said on TikTok, yeah, they care more about which people are going into bathrooms than they care more about innocent children losing their lives. I have had it. And we just had another one of these situations in Dallas when a 17-year-old walked into a school and fired indiscriminately, according to an affidavit. And multiple people were injured, and the injured were between 15 and 18 years old. When are people in this country finally going to say enough is enough? The Democrat Party, they're not perfect. And I have never sat here, and I have never said that the party's perfect, because they're not. But one thing I will give certainly the Democrat Party credit for is they've been trying to get legislation on the books, and Joe Biden did everything he could to get bipartisan legislation on the books. Barack Obama did everything he could, and Republicans keep striking it down. From my dead cold hands, right? Charleston Heston. That's the way these Republicans think. Then I asked them, what are your damn solutions? Because there are families today and their loved ones are not going to be coming home. Why? And don't tell me mental illness, because every single time Democrats try to pass bills to allocate more funds to help people that are mentally ill, you do not pass it. You're taking away money from people that need help, that are mentally ill. I don't know the situation. Maybe they've been bullied. Maybe they just need somebody to talk to. Maybe they have bad parents. It could be a number of reasons. But why do Republicans keep striking down bills to help people that are mentally ill? Why do Republicans take pictures, Christmas pictures, and give weapons for their 4-year-olds to hold? Because these are sick people, and they're in the back pocket of the NRA. That's why. But you MAGA Republicans out there don't care, do you? Don't take away my First Amendment right. Not one Democrat is doing that. In fact, many Democrats, like Tim Walz and like Kamala Harris, own weapons. Democrats do not want to take your weapons away. You know what they want to do? They want gun legislation. They want to take away weapons of war. They want to help more people that are mentally ill so bad people don't get their hands on these weapons. That's what Democrats want to do. Not one Democrat in office today has said, we want to take all your weapons away. Not one. It's a lie from the Republican Party and an excuse for them to say, we're not going to do anything because we care more about the NRA and getting an A+ rating from the NRA than our innocent children that are losing their lives in schools. When is enough enough? And I'll probably get emotional telling this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway because this is personal to me. On October 1, several years ago, when it was the biggest mass shooting in American history, I'm not a Jason Aldean fan. for a lot of reasons. I'm not a big fan of country music. A friend of mine who used to live here in Las Vegas asked me, she said, "Do you want to go to this concert with me? I have a couple tickets." And I said, "No, I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm going to the Vegas Golden Knights hockey game." There was a preseason game. I think it started a couple hours before the concert. And I said, "I'm sorry, I can't go." So I went to the hockey game with my friend Chris, who works at another radio station here in town. And as I'm getting out of the hockey game and I'm driving home, my phone is blowing up. And as my phone is blowing up, I'm looking at, oh my God, are you watching the news? Did you see what's going on in Las Vegas at this concert, at this country festival? I said, no. I got home, I turned on CNN. It's on every national network. I didn't know how bad it was at the time. And as the minutes and hours passed, I realized, oh my God, tons of people have lost their lives. And I thought about my friend and I called her. And it was ringing, but nobody was picking up. I texted her. She didn't respond. And of course, I thought the worst. And I thought the worst. And then I tried calling her in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep. And then it was going straight to voicemail. So I'm thinking the absolute worst. I think maybe I got an hour of sleep. I wake up in the morning and all of a sudden my phone is ringing and it's her. And I pick up the phone and it's her mom. And my heart drops because I'm expecting to hear the worst. And I had heard that she was shot in the lower back, and her mom told me she was fighting and she was in surgery. Now, luckily, my friend survived, but she'll never be the same. She had to go through rehab. Her life has changed. There was a bullet that they still couldn't find that was in her body. And I felt guilty. And I felt guilty because I felt like I should have been there with her, and I wasn't. And I felt like, man, it should have been me. It shouldn't have been her. You know, it should have been me. I should have been there. And I know that that's not the right way to think, but for days and weeks after that, you know, that's the way I thought. And of course, I had conversations with her, and while she hasn't made a full 100% recovery, boy, she's tough. And she moved back to California with her mom, and she still is in some pain, but boy, she's tough. And she can walk, and you know, she can live a normal life, but her life has never been the same. And I said to myself, what type of country are we living in where somebody could buy a bunch of weapons and thousands of rounds of ammunition and go to the top of a hotel and just try to execute a bunch of innocent people for no reason? Good people that were just there wanting to listen to music. And every single time I hear about one of these mass shootings, and we're getting more information about what took place at Florida State University today, and I see these images of people being sent in ambulances, and I see, you know, teenagers and students running, I think about my friend. And I think about what took place on October 1 here in Las Vegas. And I get very angry. And I get very emotional. And I say to myself, unless it happens to you, it is the platform of the MAGA Republican Party. Unless it happens to you, even a Steve Scalise, who I think is an absolute scumbag, he was shot. And he still thinks more weapons are the answer. He doesn't want to pass legislation. So the simple reality and the fact of the situation is very simple, right? It's very simple. There are Republicans in office today that are not willing to do anything, and they won't do anything today. They won't do anything tomorrow. After Sandy Hook, that was the perfect example where I just said to myself, that's it. If nothing is going to happen after Sandy Hook, then nothing is going to be done in this country. Nothing. Because MAGA Republicans refuse. They don't want to give you health care that you all deserve. They don't want to help our brave men and women in uniform. They don't want to help women raise a child, maternity leave, you name it. They don't want government programs. It could be food stamps. It could be welfare. Yes, they want to take your Social Security away. Yes, they want to take your Medicare away. Yes, Elon Musk thinks it's an entitlement. That's the way many of these MAGA Republicans think. Oh, they have great medical benefits. Those that are in office right now, particularly those on the right, yeah, they have great benefits, but they don't want you to have them because they don't care about you and they don't care about your families. And then you'll have Donald Trump say, well, you could drop off your kid at a school and they're going to come back home another gender. Notice how Donald Trump doesn't want to talk about all this violence when it comes to weapons. And when he was asked about it today, quote, he said, this is what he said, things like this take place. Yes, that's right. Donald Trump said that. Things like this take place. What type of country are we living in? They don't care about you. They don't care about your families. They don't care. Because if they did, they would work with Democrats and pass some legislation that could save lives. And you know what? If it saves one life, then it's worth it. One life, it's worth it. But they care more about taking their Christmas pictures and giving their children weapons to hold. Lauren Boebert did it. Marjorie Taylor Greene did it. They all do it. You can't take my rights away, they say, so that these idiots can go into shooting ranges. And idiots like Don Jr., also known as Biff, can go hunting because they think if you have an AR-15 and you hunt a deer, that makes you intelligent or smart or tough. No, it doesn't. It makes you an imbecile. Or if they take the life of, say, I don't know, an innocent giraffe or an elephant, and then they take sick pictures with these animals, these people are sick. They're demented. But don't take my enjoyment away. I don't care what happens to your family. That's the way so many of these MAGA Republicans think. Haven't you had enough, ladies and gentlemen? Haven't you had enough? Isn't it enough time to say, I'm not voting these people in office, that I'm going to vote for people who actually want to do something about the real issues that Americans are facing right now, like the economy, like giving a woman the right to choose? I want to be able to drop my kids off at school and not worry about the fact that they might not come home. Maybe we should do something about that. But if you talk to somebody like Ted Cruz, you know what Ted Cruz would say? Oh, we need to harden our schools. Or that idiot J.D. Vance. We need to harden our schools. Yeah, we need. After the Uvalde shooting, you know what Ted Cruz said? The back door should have been locked. As if some deranged 18-year-old who literally just shot his grandmother thinks that a locked door would have deterred him from going in there. That's what these MAGA Republicans say. They don't say, hey, you know what? I've been wrong on this issue. We need to start working with Democrats. Let's meet in the middle and let's do what we can to help people. People are asking me, what are your suggestions, Brian? I talk about solutions every time one of these things happen, and I'm going to talk to you about them right now because I have a list. Because unlike so many of you, I've actually thought about this because I care about innocent people. Number one, I understand driving a vehicle is not a right, it's a privilege. However, why is it that when you get your driver's license, you have to take a test? They have to make sure you could drive the vehicle safely. They check your eyesight. They check your medical history, and you get an exam. But when you purchased a weapon, no re-registering your weapons. They don't check your eyesight. They don't go into your medical history. Why is that? So here's what I propose. I propose a mandatory 2-hour training class. They teach you how to hold the weapon. They teach you how to store it. They teach you how to use it. Just give me 2 hours. Because if I'm in an active shooter situation, if somebody has a weapon, a good Samaritan, I want to know that they know what they're doing and they know how to use it. That's number one. If we have the same rules in place when it comes to driving a vehicle, the same rules at a minimum should be in place when it happens to weapons. Number two, raise the age from 18 to 21. And I know what a lot of people are going to say, oh, Brian, how about our brave men and women? Well, they're all trained how to use the weapons. I'm not comfortable with somebody who's a senior in high school who's never purchased or held a weapon before going into a store and buying thousands of rounds of ammunition with no training. I am not comfortable with that. Raise the age from 18 to 21. Number three, red flag laws. There are some states in this country where, hypothetically speaking, let's say a husband threatens his wife, says, I'm going to end your life. Now, that's a threat. That's against the law. But in some states in this country, that person could be booked and then let out the same day, and they're legally allowed to purchase a weapon the next day. I have a serious problem with that. I understand red flag laws are a case-by-case basis. I'm not saying if a neighbor doesn't like you, they should be able to call the police and lie about you, and then they take all your weapons away. That's not what I'm saying. This is a case-by-case basis. That is number 3. Weapons of war. I do not believe that the weapons that our brave men and women in uniform use and those that law enforcement use should be sold to the general public. Everybody has a right to defend themselves. But why is it in so many of these mass casualty events, they seem to use the same weapon of choice? Yes, you know what weapon I'm talking about. They should be banned. That is the 4th thing that I think should happen. Now, I just named you 4 things that won't solve all of our problems, but I will give you one more. And I think this is maybe where Republicans and I agree on. If you sell somebody an illegal weapon or you have an illegal weapon on your person, it should be a mandatory 1-year prison sentence. I can guarantee you people would start thinking twice before they sell a weapon to somebody illegally. If you're caught with a weapon that's illegal or you sell one, it should be a mandatory prison sentence. Now, I just gave you 5 things. I don't expect all of those things to come to fruition. Give me 2 of those things, and I guarantee you the violence in this country will go down. Give me 2 out of 5. Now, many of these things that I just talked about, and by the way, I just listed 5 things. That's 5 more things than I'll hear these MAGA morons say. They'll say stupid things like, more weapons make us safer. Oh, really? Then why is it per capita in this country, per 100 people, we have 140 weapons? And why do we have just about more violence than it comes to almost any other country in the world? So more weapons do not make us safer. It's nonsense. So you can't use that excuse with me. No. Give me 2 out of those 5. And if you do give me 2 out of those 5, I think that we will be safer and it will save lives. It won't be the end all. Just like the bipartisan border bill wouldn't have solved all of our problems, but it would have helped. But just like the bipartisan border bill, Republicans are not serious lawmakers and they're not serious policymakers. They're noisemakers. And they don't want to protect us. This isn't make America safe again. It's make America dangerous again. It's make America without a constitution. It's make America without due process again. So when Donald Trump tells you that he's making you safer, it's the opposite. Just about every other word that comes out of his mouth, it is the opposite. He lies on a daily basis, and after people sadly have lost their lives in what took place on this Florida campus, Donald Trump's response, things like this take place. Well, Mr. President, you're right. Things like this do take place, and people like you don't care. You don't care. Number to call, 702-221-7283. And again, the number, if you want to be a part of the conversation, is 702-221-7283. We're covering multiple stories today, breaking news, sadly, of what took place at Florida State University, where an open shooter took aim at a bunch of innocent students. We are still gathering all the details. We know that there are some fatalities. We don't know how many. We know that multiple people have been injured. We are monitoring that story and much, much more